So yeah, did Apple like just mess up here or what? Like they kind of just decided to spawn in some new Macs the other day and a new HomePod for some reason. It's kind of weird. Actually, what is going on here, Apple? I mean, when is the last time they've released stuff in January? They just randomly decided to drop updates to the 14 and 16-inch MacBooks, a new Mac Mini, and a new HomePod. Kind of randomly, plus the new two chips for the MacBook Pros, the M2 Pro and M2 Max. Anyways, I'll get into more of that then. But if you watch the video for the new MacBooks, it looks an awful lot like their keynotes. And yeah, me and a lot of other people are fairly certain at this point that Apple is actually going to release these at some point last year. And then for some reason, they couldn't, so they're just doing it now randomly. And this is kind of just destroying my hopes of a spring event. I guess they still technically could do it, but the chances of that seem to be going down if they're just going to drop everything right now. But yeah, so they decided to just drop the updates to the already really good 14 and 16 inch MacBook Pros. These things have been loved by pretty much everyone since they came out in 2021. Obviously, they have the new chips, the M2 Pro and M2 Max, which are just scaled up versions of the M2, basically doing the exact same thing they were with the M1. So the M2 Pro makes the jump from up to 24 gigs to up to 32 now gigabytes of RAM, and the M2 Max goes all the way up to 96 gigabytes of RAM in a laptop. That's kind of insane. The memory bandwidth is also doubled basically each step, going from 100 to 200 from the M2 to M2 Pro, and then up to 400 for the M2 Max, so that's cool. Core count is also just increased across the board, kind of, especially on the GPU side, which is really nice because Apple Silicon has always just been lacking a little bit in the GPU department. CPUs have been incredible, but yeah, the graphics have been lacking a bit, so hopefully with the M2 series here, they'll start to actually be getting better. So yeah, the MacBook Pros look basically exactly the same as they did before, except a new wallpaper, which looks pretty sick. There are a couple changes. First of all, it has Wi-Fi 6E, so you get blazing fast Wi-Fi if you really want it. It's like basically the second Apple product, I think, to get this at all. Yeah, so I guess that's nice. And the HDMI can output up to 8K, which is really cool, as the previous version could only go up to 4K at 30 frames per second. So yeah, I think a lot of people probably won't be using this, I guess, but it's still nice to have that capability there. And as crazy as the battery life was on the previous generation, it is supposed to be getting even better now, with what they say is up to 22 hours of battery life. So these things are going to last you all day still. And I think these MacBooks are going to continue to be very popular. And actually the older version with the M1 Pro and Max, I mean, you'll probably be able to find those for cheaper, refurbished or used, and they're still really powerful, and I could still see those being a pretty good option for a lot of people. So those MacBooks, pretty nice update there, but what I think is probably more important here is an update to the Mac Mini. I am still rocking my M1 Mac Mini, which came out in 2020 with the original drop of M1. Served me really well. But there's finally an update to it, and obviously they're putting in the M2, and they actually lowered the price, which is like kind of crazy, like $600 for a Mac Mini with M2 in it that can do some pro level tasks. I mean, at least if you're not going super heavy. Obviously, I edit my videos on an M1. So M2 is going to be even a little better on there, and you can get, like I said, the M2 Pro, so you're really going to be getting pro performance in a Mac Mini. Now, if you're getting the M2 Pro, it does immediately bump the price all the way up to $1,300, and for what you're getting, that's really good. The only other computer you can get with that chip in it is the 14-inch MacBook Pro, which starts at $1,999. So $700 less, and you have the same chip. If you already have keyboard, mouse, monitor, you're good to go. And yeah, I think this is going to be really popular. Again, really good deal for a long time yet. It looks exactly the same as it did before, since basically 2010. The only slight change is that if you get the M2 Pro, it actually comes with 4 USB-C Thunderbolt 4 ports on the back instead of just the 2, which is pretty nice. Other than that, basically exactly the same. Now, all that stuff came out on Tuesday, but then on Wednesday, yesterday, at the time of recording this anyways, Apple just decided to drop a new full-size HomePod. Like 2 years after it was discontinued, after coming out like 5 years ago in 2018. And they basically didn't change it at all, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah, that went well. But yeah, there are a couple little changes here. Apparently there's actually less tweeters and mics in this thing for some reason, but they're saying it's still supposed to be better. And apparently you can use its intelligence using the new S7 chip, which is, yes, the same thing as in the Apple Watch, plus a 2-1 chip. Yeah, so it can use these chips to be able to, I guess, sense the room around it and the acoustics of the room, and then adjust the audio so that it sounds better. I have no idea how that works. Guess just good old Apple magic back there. There's also technically 2 new colors, kind of. They have a white version and a black version. Well, midnight. But yeah, it looks exactly the same as the old black. The screens on top are supposed to be a little bigger, and it looked to me like it's set down into the mesh a little bit, but that could just be on the renders. I don't know if that's actually going to be a real difference once the product ships. It also has Matter support, which is really nice if you actually want to use this thing as a smart home hub. And for some reason, Apple decided to not even talk about one of the best features of this thing, which is that it has a temperature and humidity sensor right in there. And it's been in the HomePod mini this entire time, and they never told us, and they're just activating it now, I guess. So you can actually see and control your temperature and humidity right through these things, and you can even have automations based on it. And yeah, they didn't mention this in the video, nothing. It's like a footnote on the web page. Also, it looks like the cord is detachable, which is nice. I don't know why the cord was not detachable in the original one. So yeah, other than that, it looks basically exactly the same. And yeah, I guess just really good speaker quality, and then they put Siri on it to make it smart. Yeah. I would assume this is probably going to go a little bit the same route as the old one, where there's people that get it and really love it, but because of the high price, which by the way is actually slightly lower now at only $299, still expensive though, because of that price, there would probably be, not just going right into the homes of all these people. Normal people are still going to want to pick up Echoes from Amazon because they're selling them for like $30. So why pay $300? But yeah, I guess people that really want the best sound quality, and you can even pair them to use them as a stereo pair that supposedly works really well with the Apple TV, which is cool, I guess, but that's a $600 speaker set, and yeah, that's a little bit pricey there. You could probably get better speakers for the same, or for less money, but hey, it's Apple, so why not? And it has Siri on it, of course. So yeah, I think that's about everything. It's looking pretty cool here. And by the way, yes, you can just buy all of this stuff right now. They just upload it and you can go buy this stuff now. I think they just forgot to update their website in October or November or whatever. That's about all I have, and I will see you all later.